Hi everyone! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Flavored Life channel. This is Favor.
Everything I do is for your love for me, God. You died on the cross, shed your blood.
So excited because we're continuing the identity series. Like, I love it so much. But if you're new on here, welcome. You're at the right place. I don't think it's coincidence that you're listening to me right now. It's God incident. So welcome to the right channel. And if you're a returnee, you guys are the real MVPs. Like, thank you so much. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your like. Thank you for your subscribing. Thank you so much. It's such an honor, such a privilege to, be a vessel where God is able to dispense wisdom through. And I'm so super excited to have, you guys journey with me. And I'm super, super, super excited for today's series. So let's just get right in. We've been talking about the purpose journey and how it's a journey and not just something that you answer in black and white and all of that. So this is just a continuation of that series, and so I'm super excited because we're going to be entering the meat of the matter: how to discover purpose. What does that really look like? How you are discovering yourself, your journey on the earth, every of the entailing, the meat and the soup, everything all together. We're going to talk about it today. So sit tight. If you have to go get a cup of water, tea, whatever, I have to drink water, guys, because today the conversation is deep. We need to talk about it. I want when you leave this particular episode, you're empowered with the knowledge that you need to create a change in your life. You're empowered with the knowledge that you need to trace who you are. You're empowered with the knowledge that you need to be able to make a difference. And so Miles Monroe said that the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without a reason. The greatest tragedy in life is not actually death, but life without a reason, meaning life without purpose. It's dangerous to be alive and not know why you exist. It's one of the most frustrating things you can do to anyone. So that's why we always say, like, the richest place is not the African wells of oil, it's not the South Africa gold mine. The richest place is not even United States silver mine. It's the symmetry. It's the symmetry. That's because it's filled with so much ideas, visions that could have happened, inventions that could have taken off, but never happened because, songs that were never sung. Can you imagine? Things that were never manufactured. The richest place is the symmetry. And so what's God's will for your life? What's God's will for my life? God's will for our lives is to die empty. That's really all it's about. To pour out the fullness of your inside. All the songs that should have been sung and expressed through the portals of your life, all the books that should have been written, it's time to do it now. That's why we're on this journey. That's why I'm literally taking my time and saying, let us have a conversation. Let's talk about it, because truly, you can't fully say you fully fulfill the fullness of life if there's still something inside of you that should have poured out, but you took it to the grave. You must die empty. That's the whole purpose. That's the core. And that's what we're going to talk about. When Apostle Paul said, should I abound? Should I abase? That's the level. It says, I fought the good fight of faith. That's the level. Christ said, it is finished. That's the level. That is a level, guys. Now, that's the trend that we must keep up with to finish in time, to finish all of the deposits of God on our lives, to finish. That is the goal. That's the whole core of all that we should do. And so in discovering God's purpose for your life, there are 5 basic questions I want you to answer. And I want you to go along with me because it's a practical class, to be honest. I'd done a series of a class called the School of You, and it was really just about the identity and the Holy Spirit. And I had to take these students through the 5 basic questions that you must ask yourself in discovering God's purpose for your life. The first question is, who am I? So who am I speaks to identity, and remember from the last class, I said, when you think identity, think what? God. When you think identity, think God. If there's anything, you shouldn't forget that. When you think identity, I want you to think God. The next thing you should ask is, where am I from? Someone will say, oh, I'm from Benin State. I'm from the United States. I'm from United Kingdom. Where am I from? Actually, doesn't just speak to the earthly realm chronology of technology of where you're from in terms of the state or territory, but where you're from speaks to your heritage, your source, where you're originating from, which is from the originator. So in the beginning, God. So where are you from? In the beginning, God. That's really it. That's where you originate from. That's where your progenitor is. So that's where your beginning starts from. That's your starting context, like I talked about in the last class. It says, then the third question is, why am I here? That's the purpose question that we've all been talking about. And purpose, like I said, speaks to image and likeness, to function as God here on earth. Just as God functions in the heavenlies, dominate the fullness of design, you're to function here on earth and dominate the fullness of design of all God's purposes on the earth. So when you think, why am I here? I want you to think purpose. And I want you to think, image, likeness, image, likeness. So just like the image speaks to when you're trying to enter a territory, I need a passport to enter. So when they look at the image, and they look at you, there's no disparity, so they let you in. So on the earth, you are God's, you're literally you're God's passport. So when they look at the image, they let you in on the earth because you are man in the image and likeness of God. So you give God access through the portals of your life to deposit the fullness of his design upon the earth realm. The fourth question is, what can I do? So think about it. It thinks about, what can I do? Potential. I can do all things, but I don't need to do all things. But there are some things that I should do. And God defines that which I'm to do per time. So all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So I can do all things, but it doesn't mean that I should do all things. There are some things that I'm meant to do, some things that I don't need to do, and some things that I should do. Well, what I can do speaks to potential, and it's something that unveils each layers. It's a becoming. That's why I say becoming is a journey, because this answer, the question of what can I do, speaks to evolution. It speaks to, it's a journey. You unveil each layer in your becoming. There's a version of you. The more you become like God, there's a more layer of the things that you do. And the more capacity you build, the more things you can do. So the more capacity you build, the more room of your enlargement, the more expansion you have. So the more room of things you do. So I always say, when you start out a company, there's some things that you do because you're starting out. And as the company grows, there's some things that you don't have the luxury to do, but now will be delegated to others to do. And there's some other things that you would now do in a more supervisory capacity. Not saying that you cannot keep doing some certain things in certain levels, but the more capacity you grow and build, the more systems and structures are in place to be able to run without you. That makes and ensure that that system is enhanced and is efficient. So the fifth question is, where am I going? And I spoke about this as well in the last class. And we talk about, this is where people say, my destiny, your destiny is destiny. Your destiny is speaking to destination. Where am I going? And I told you that destination is not a place in context of identity. Destination is a person, the person of Christ. If you can get these five, guys, I'm done. Like, your purpose, you got it. You got your purpose, you got your identity, you got your where you're going, where you're from. Then there's nothing that man can do to you. You see these five things. That's what Daniel understood. That was why when Daniel, it was among people that were not of his tribe at the age that he was. He says, and he proposed in his heart not to defile himself with the king's meat. It's the ability to understand his certain context, who he is in God, where he's going to, where he's headed, why he's here. That's why he's able to stand before five kings, the reigns of these kings, and be relevant in each time. It's understanding this five that causes you to be relevant. It's understanding this five that causes you to know what you are to do per time. It's understanding this five that causes you not to be an entity in your time. Is actually what causes it to be a joy of many generations. That scripture was fulfilled in the life of Daniel. He was a joy of many generations. They needed him for clarity, navigation, for wisdom, for knowledge, for counsel, for excellence. So as a person, Answering these five will actually help you. I can't do it for you. You actually have to sit down with it. Like, when I say one, you pause the video, you write it down, you think about it, you journey with the Holy Spirit, and you navigate the portal. And if you want some more, you pay for my classes, and then we get deeper in conversation. But really, where I'm going speaks to destination, and it's a person, like I said, and it's the fullness of Christ. It's the fullness of who He is, journeying into the becoming. That is when you look in the mirror, you are actually you are mirroring the image which is God. As He is, so you are. That thing coming to life. What that looks like is when God looks at you. There's no disparity. There's no disparity. There's no dissemblance. You guys are the same. You resemble each other. There's such a similarity. There's a sameness. Identity means sameness, same with the same. You're one with something, you're same with it. So you're same with God. You're same with God. I want that to stick in me. You're same with God. Now let's analyze these questions. Because I know you're like, Favor, you're coming from me. Like, Favor, but then, you just told us what it is. You not really, digest it. You not let us go deep. Maybe we should do it in another episode, but let's see how we can analyze these five questions quickly and briefly. So the first question is the question of who I am or who am I. That's the question of identity, like I said. And many people don't know their true identity. And it shows from the way they live, the way they talk, the way they behave. From your actions, I can tell who you are. Because whatever you are full of is what you exude. Whatever you're full of is what you express. When you squeeze a sponge, whatever it's full of is what comes out. If you pour juice inside it, when you squeeze it, juice will come out. If you pour air freshener, when you squeeze it, it's the juice from the freshener that will come out. When you pour soap, it will be soapy when you squeeze it out. So whatever you are full of is what you will exude. So who you are, I can tell from the way you are. Because it's what you are full of on your inside that you would exude. And so this must drive you. The way you live, the way you talk, the way you do things for others. So you need to really find who you are. And we already talked about that in the previous video. You can go and watch it if you've not seen it before. You can go and watch it. I really talked about the certain context, how God taught you through, and that whole journey, that whole conversation. So I will not belabor the issue. So when you think about where you are from, I told you it's the question of heritage. So you got to find out where you're from. And that's why I said the source code is God. Progenitor, in the beginning, God. People always say in the beginning, okay, then I say don't rush that thing you are rushing is days, is years, is don't rush that verse. In the beginning, God, full stop. If you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning, God, full stop. Before anything, God. Before anything you think about, God. That's why I first told you, when you think identity, think God. So when you're thinking, where am I from? Your source code should be God. Your source code heritage should be God. It's literally saying, I am not from here. It says, you're not of this world. You're in the world, but not of the world. That tells you something. So you cannot now think heritage and think the world. You need to think source code. Manufacturer. I remember I talked to manufacturer is God. So where you're from is from the source code. I don't know if I'm saying this right. I'm about to talk technology, but I'm not really the tech person. But I have friends that are in the tech space. They talk about source code a lot and data sets. I feel very funny speaking about this. However, you know how they always say for every data set, there's a source code that it's originating from. So anything that is wrong with it, it has to go back to the source code, the source file. You have to be able to redirect its steps. Just like blockchain, when one of the blocks is defaulted, everything is defaulted because it starts from the foundation. Everything you have to go back to the foundation. So when you are having an identity crisis, you go back to Christ. When you're having identity crisis, you go back to Christ. When you're having issues with who you are, trying to find your feet in a season of transition, you go back to the beginning, the source code, the heritage. The question of why you are here is a question of purpose. You need to find your purpose. A Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren is one of the best books to recommend. Purpose, say when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So when you don't know that which you've been called to do, which is to dominate upon the earth and to do that which the Lord has been doing on the heavens, and saying doing it on the earth, where I might say replicate it. If you don't really know what God is doing, you cannot know what to replicate. If you don't know the life of Christ, you cannot know what to replicate. If you don't know who God is, you cannot know who you are. By the way, the lens and perception of how you see God is how you will see yourself. So if you see God as just the healer, you only see yourself as someone that is, I don't know, healed by God. Your perception of who God is how you will see yourself. So you need to see with the lens of Christ, so that your eyes of understanding will be enlightened in Ephesians. That was a prayer that was prayed because there's a reason for this. Um, what else? What else? What else? So the question of what I can do is a question of potential. Unless you discover your abilities and potentials, you'll never maximize it. So explore. I don't know why people are always afraid to explore. Explore. Try out things. Look at it. What am I burdened for? What keeps me awake in the night? What makes me restless? What can I do? What do I like doing? What fuels me? What causes me to enter my flow state? The flow state is that which that causes me to be inspired, that which that makes me run through things. I might not eat, but you see this thing, I can wake up, I can do it. My mental state was in your heart, was in your head, was in your hand. But I don't want to even go deep, because if you want to go for those classes, you sign us, we'll sign you up for payment. But I'm just really saying, like, what causes you, what keeps you awake? What keeps you awake? What are those things? What are those big dreams that you're like, oh my God, you can't wait to see the world this way? Or you can't wait to see yourself entering this dimension. There must be something that keeps your heart racing. And if there isn't, it's a good place to pray to find it. It's a good place to explore. What's that thing that gives you joy? What's that thing that causes that? If they not pay you for it, you can do it forever. What's that one thing that you're not going to be paid for, but you can keep doing it regardless of payment? For me, it's speaking. That's why I love doing this. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I love sharing knowledge. I love depth. I love conversation. I love encouraging people. I love being light and love. I love being guide and wisdom. And for me, that's an expression of God. Because truly, 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 the source of all knowledge, of all wisdom is God. It's one thing I love to do so much, to express the life of God through the portals of my life. And that's what I'm doing on here. So for me, it's not even about payment. It's about let the life of God flow through me. And if I'm not being paid in it, that's amazing. That's a double wow. Do you get it? But if you're, so that's what I'm saying, you need to now think about what keeps me in my flow state, what keeps me in my flow zone, what brings me to a place of fuel and energy that causes the ripple effect in the expressions that I do. And so in finding this, it will help you. It will help you to be able to, journey with all of this. Um, yeah, let me see what I want to end with. Let me see what I want to end with, because I'm already over time. Okay. Whew. And then your potential is locked in your purpose. Because until you understand that the functionality for your existence, you will not be able to unlock it. Until you understand the functionality of your existence, you'll not be able to unlock it. That's why I say try out things, explore things, because the more you explore, the more you're able to come into the fullness, the more you're able to come into design. And some things that until you step out, you will not discover. It's called discovery for a reason. Discover is not, hand me down. Discover is you explore, you journey. It's a movement. So move out, step out of your comfort zone, try out things. Don't be quick to say no. Say yes to it until you realize that it's not yours. I remember the story of somebody. She said that she was looking. I think it was JC May actually. Was it? No, it wasn't JC May. What's her name? Oh God, I can't remember her name now. She did the book. Joyce Mayer. Yes. I think it's Joyce Mayer, but I'm not sure. But I think it's Joyce Mayer. She talked about how she entered ministry and how at first, the first thing she tried to do, I think she went to volunteer with the children church. And she said after the day or the week, she realized that obviously she wasn't called to that ministry and she left it. She tried another department. It was a total disaster. She tried to be her pastor's secretary, and the pastor said, I don't know what's this, but this doesn't sit right. And she had to quit. And finally, they told her to then join the Bible study department. She said, okay, let's try that again. and she entered her flow state. She entered design. Like, you understand? The many yeses will lead you to DS. The many yeses will lead you to DS. And if it's not for you, it's okay. People are thinking it's I don't want to make a mistake in my purpose. No, it's exploration. If Adam said he didn't want to make a mistake to name the animals, he would never understand that his design was to be prophetic in nature. But that's a conversation for another day. So learn to explore. You only discover by stepping out. You only discover by the many yeses that you actually explored. That's how you're able to know the potential that you carry to maximize the full output input of all that you carry. To be able to fully live design. And so I'll stop here today because I feel like I don't want us to belabor the issue, but try and answer the five questions. Try and sit down with yourself and honestly try to answer them. Obviously, you can explore with the comment section. If you still have more questions, that would be great. Let's explore it together. But I would say this is a good place to stop. So I'll see you in my next video as to what it is. I can't wait to find out as well. Do like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification button so that in case I do post another video, you're gonna know about it. So for now, I'm just gonna tell you bye.